gun is on the street. The Russian mob is involved. This whole thing is about to blow up.
I did not marry an evil man. And I know it's not what I see when I look in your eyes.
I want my son!
Hello, welcome to Civic Critique, where we get real with cult films. I'm your host Brian, and I'm here with my brother and co-host, bro-host, Thomas.
And hello.
This week's episode is a bit of a Paul Walker special, so we'll be looking at three of his films. One is the first lead role he had with Tammy and The T-Rex from the early 90s, 1994 I think it is, Varsity Blues, and Running Scared. So we'll start with Tammy and The T-Rex, as that was the first out of both of them, the three of them even. And the plot...
You count?
No, I can't count. The plot for Tammy and the T-Rex, I'd say it's simple, but it's downright bizarre, really. An evil scientist implants the brain of a murdered high school student, Michael, Paul Walker, into a mechanical Tyrannosaurus Rex that eventually escapes and wreaks vengeance on his high school tormentors and reunites with his sweetheart, which is Tammy, played by Denise Richards.
Is that really you in there? Oh, Michael, what have they done to you?
So, with all that, what do you actually want to say about this film?
You said enough. Gets his mind put in a T-Rex. What do you need to know?
For starters, I should note, it's directed and written by Stuart Raphael and a co-writing credit for Gary Brockett. Stuart Raphael, if I'm saying his name right, was the director of Ice Pirate. Is it Ice Pirates? From the 80s, and that's a really good, that's a cult film of its own, and it's like a sci-fi parody. Not too similar to how this is a parody, because there's a parody of Romeo and Juliet where she asks him to climb up her trellis. That's before he gets put into the T-Rex, by the way.
I'm going to say.
And then there's a bit of a Wizard of Oz parody when he wakes up out of his coma. But this film is mental. Like, it's so great. I would say it's more of a grindhouse film, but it's low budget and it's like hammy dialogue and comedic presence.
So it's not a serious movie.
No. Well, also the directed a more famous film that most people do know, thankfully, from Paul Rudd, when he does his, I think it's Conan O'Brien, where he always shows a clip of Mac and Me, because this is the director of Mac and Me.
Yeah. They're now just laughing about Mac at that bloody... Oh, God. Yeah, bloody Mac and Me.
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that, bro.
No, but, I mean, there's not a lot to say about this film, but at the same time, there's a lot to say, but I don't really want to spoil how fun it can be if you haven't watched it and you like watching, like, good, bad films, if you know what I mean, because this film definitely knows what it is, and I think it was shot under the space of 3 weeks.
Yeah, because that's how long they had this.
The mechanical dinosaur.
Yeah, animatronic T-Rex store. They had it for... No, I'm sure I read they had it for 2 weeks. I don't know what was... Because they say it was filmed in 3 weeks, so did they like do stuff without the T-Rex for that last week then? Don't know what.
Sure. Apparently, the whole of this movie can be watched in the player's house in a video game called High on Life from 2022, which is quite funny.
I'd probably watch that film. Yeah, just knowing the budget of the whole thing, how low budget, or everything's like within 25 minutes away from the director's
Yes, it's
house.
all very close to his house, yeah.
Yeah. And they could site a nearby fire so you can see like smoke just in the background of a lot of the scenes.
Yeah, this movie's original title was Tanny and the Teenage T-Rex.
I knew it was Tanny, but I didn't know.
Yeah, but when you search for it, it always comes up with its IMDb page where it's Tammy and the T-Rex.
Yeah, like a retitle.
Yeah.
I know there's like two versions of the film, but like a gorier version.
Yeah, which I think is the Italian cut.
Yeah, and I think that's the release you get now. If you get
Possibly, because this had some gore in it. There's a brilliant scene in this where an unknown character actor, Sean Whalen, I say unknown because not everyone knows who Sean Whalen is. I like him because he appears in a lot of Jason Frost movies.
Yeah.
Also known as J-Tro, and he's done some really good, I would say, grindhouse indie films himself. Not maybe as funny or as, intently funny as this. He's more a little artsy and could be quite serious and have, good themes to him. Quite a fan of his work. But Sean Whalen in this, there's a scene where he gets killed And that's like the really gory part, I guess. And he's just holding his guts. Like it cuts away after the T-Rex slashes at him. And then it cuts back to him. And he's just holding his guts. And they just drop on the floor. And he's clearly had to hold them there ready to drop them. And because they're all wet and gooey, before it cuts away, you can quickly see it's just like his T-shirt all wet from holding it against him. I find quite funny. There's also some really good stuff with the T-Rex's arms that I find funny, because obviously T-Rexes have quite short arms for the rest of their body in proportion.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where it dials the phone, and it's clearly just a gloved hand dialing the phone.
I know, the amount of times you see the rubber gloved hands come on screen and you're like...
And then obviously he's ringing the phone, and he he even picks the phone up and holds it, but it then obviously realizes he can't speak now. He's the T-Rex, so it's just quite funny. And then there's a scene later where once he meets up back with his lover, now he's a dinosaur, and he kidnaps her from her bedroom, which I have no idea how he got her out the bedroom. If you see the film, you'll understand. Like, it just cuts away, and next thing you know, he's got her, and he's in like a barn somewhere. And he passes her a flower. The flower weren't even in his claw or his hand, whatever you want to call it at the time. And then she's like trying to what's going on, you weird dinosaur? So he plays charades with her to explain what's happening. It's so weird that first she realizes he's playing charades, and then the fact she figures it out in under a minute that he's basically saying that his brain got put into the body of a dinosaur. It's so unfathomable. It's just funny. It is obviously because now he's a dinosaur and he's gone on a bit of a murder spree, killing some of the people to get revenge. But he ends up attending his own funeral at some scene. But this dinosaur's a wanted fugitive now, and yet he's just stood out in the open at his own funeral, which just cracks me up, and no one seems to notice. And then when they figure out what's happened as well, and they realise that they can maybe get his brain put back into a body, they're bringing these corpses from the morgue to the window, and he's just sat in the back of his truck as a T-Rex doing a little thumb up or thumb down for the bodies, and it's just so funny. He's got this gay black friend called Byron, and he's just so damn funny in it. Like, I can't think what I want to say about him, but it's just so weird. Like, the whole film, I mean, is weird, like, in all the best ways. And the end of this film just cracks you up as well, because eventually she saves him, if you could call it that, by getting his brain back out the T-Rex, but they haven't got a body to put him in yet, and it just ends with him in his like weird jar set up to a computer and microphone set up for him to talk with her and stuff. And there's no cover over the jar the brain's sat in, it's just open top, and she starts doing like a striptease, and all the water starts bubbling up, and the computer goes into like an overheat mode, and it's such a weird film. Definitely worth checking out.
If you're allowed to say that at the end, are we allowed to say how he died?
Yeah, sure. That's at the beginning, isn't it? So yeah, go for it.
He got in the zoo, and he gets attacked by animal. He gets mauled by animal.
Oh yeah. They throw him into like the tiger pen or something, isn't it?
Yeah, because what I find funny is that the stunt guy was actually harmed by it, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was actually bitten by a
jaguar.
Jaguar, yeah.
Yeah, but I loved it when I read about it, because like Paul Walker's character is like killed by animals, but Paul Walker really loved animals.
Yeah.
I just thought, what a great little thing to read about. It made me laugh. I thought I could have read about this film, and it makes me laugh.
Here we go. The script was written and cast, and locations were all arranged within 3 weeks.
Well, I bet they had 2 weeks to film from that week. They were rewriting it while filming as well.
Yeah, some bits. I don't know how much and how different they made it from that, but
brilliant film.
It's so worth checking out, and it's one of them. I think you'd get more from it watching it with a group of friends, if you've got friends that you can enjoy films with like that, because you'd just be able to make it more of a social thing. It's almost like The Room in that sort of sense, where it's like this great bad film that's just so good to just laugh at.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about this one?
Other than it, you're absolutely wacky. There's not much else you can add.
Yeah. I've got nothing to add other than the fact that I bloody love it.
It's a really good comedy sort of thing to sit back and switch your brain off and watch someone's brain get put into a T-Rex.
Yeah. My brain was turned off that much while watching it. I thought when I finished watching it that maybe I was a T-Rex. But then I just realised I hadn't finished putting my arms through my sleeves of my hoodie properly, so I had these little short arms. But never mind. You want to move on to Varsity Blues then?
Can do.
Hey, Mark, let's roll!
Do you want to give us an intro?
Oh, I can do. Varsity Blues is set in like small town, West Texas. It follows Jonathan Moxon, played by James Van Der Beek. He's the substitute. Is it substitute player?
Yeah.
Anyway, Paul Walker plays the like star player, Lance Harbour. He's a star quarterback or whatever, isn't he?
Yeah.
He gets injured, and the substitute Van Der Beek's character Moxon, he has to stand in, and the coach is like really strict on him and whatnot. Yeah, it's pretty much just into all that sort of life, really, isn't it? High school football.
Yeah, coming of age sporting drama, really.
Yeah,
You know,
which I could have said.
Yeah. It's pretty much by the numbers as well, to a point, I would say.
Yeah. But I think it's really well made with
It's very well made, yeah.
and the cast is great. John Boyd is the coach, Coach Kilmer.
Yeah, Coach Kilmer. Scott Caan is Tweeter.
Yeah.
Amy Smart is Julie Harbour, which
Yeah.
then the brother of Paul Walker's character.
Sister. She's the sister.
That's better, yeah. Ali Larter is Darcy, and this was her debut film.
Yeah.
Joe Pishler is Kyle Moxon.
Yeah. I've that down.
I just made notes. He seemed like almost an important character to the film's overall
Yeah.
plot. The team they play for is the Coyotes, but the main thing is basically that Mox, being the substitute, taking the place of Walker's Lance character as the new quarterback after an injury, is that Mox isn't liked by the coach because he's very bookish and quite smart and has game ideas that the coach doesn't agree with.
Yeah, I think the well-read character is reading Slaughterhouse 5. He's got that covered by like the game book, hasn't he?
Yeah.
So the playbook, sorry.
Yeah.
And like gets called out on that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But after Paul Walker's Lance character gets injured in the first game we see him play in, it's revealed that he's going to have 18 months to recover.
Yeah.
But that he shouldn't have been playing anyway, because apparently his knees had already had a lot of sustaining damage.
Yeah.
And the coach had basically been covering it up and so on.
Yeah, he was covering up quite a few of the injuries, and a lot of them were playing injured.
Yeah, which leads to a real-life event, because which was actually called the Varsity Blues thing. Do you have a note of it?
I remember, if you've got the full thing, you
I haven't. I was hoping you have. I was just going to bring it up now.
All right. Got no.
Okay.
It was the FBI. It was like a sting operation, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Took them down.
Yeah, that was it. In 2019, the FBI charged some 50 people, including several celebrities, with conspiracy to fraudulently influence academic and athletic admissions decisions at several elite colleges and universities. Multiple news outlets, including the New York Times, the Washington Post, NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, The Guardian, etc., reported that the FBI's internal code name for the investigation was Operation Varsity Blues after this movie. One of the movie's stars, James Van Der Beek, tweeted a wry response to the scandal and its name. If only there was a succinct turn of phrase these kids could have used to inform their parents they were not deserious of their life path. This is a joke in reference to the dramatic moment in which the movie, Van Der Beek's character in the movie, Mox, tells his father, playing football at Western Canaan may have been the opportunity of your lifetime, but I don't want your life. Because he's kind of begrudgingly in the football team. Like, he clearly enjoys it, but he'd rather be doing something else.
Yeah.
There's just some odd things in this. Like, as a teen drama, it's actually pretty decent. I don't know if it would appeal to most teens, to be honest.
No.
It's written a lot maturer than a lot of teen dramas, I would say, but maybe I'm just comparing it to teen dramas you get on TV, like your One Tree Hill and such as.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Did you look up the director?
I did, but I forgot. I know he's called Brian Robbins.
Yeah. I can't think what other movie he did, but it looked like he just went on to more TV stuff. He does good burger that a lot of people know.
Oh, yeah, that's Keenan and Kel.
Yeah. I heard a few TV stuff because he does, I think he does a few episodes of Blue Mountain State and a couple episodes of the Birds of Prey series from early 2000.
All right, yeah. That Birds of Prey series, I quite like it, to be honest. It's a comic book adaptation.
Yeah, it's all right.
But Blue Mountain State is phenomenal. That's basically cottage football, and it's incredible.
I could see why they got him on to do that. And he has a cameo in this movie in the locker room. He's got his own name on one of the shirts.
Oh, that's cool.
He's the writer of Point Break and Patriot Games. It's WP Iliff.
WP Iliff.
Yeah.
I think it's Iliff because it's only one L.
Yeah, quite a few interesting things about this movie, to be fair.
One thing I particularly like, it's the fact that the commentators on the match aren't actually actors. They are actually, I think, the college football commentators that they had for it.
Yeah, they were from the place they were filming.
Possibly.
On that one high schools, I think. I'm not too sure. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty cool thing to do, because I know they televise college football in the States, don't they?
I believe so. Well, I think it really added to the film.
Yeah.
I assume I don't know if that was a rehearsed commentary or they just do it play by play on what they're seeing. Maybe I'm not sure how they did it exactly, but I feel it was quite well done. I know a lot of the actors got injured. Paul Walker himself did it.
Yeah, he actually broke his leg, didn't he?
Awesome. But yeah, I read that Chris Klein could have had the role of Moxon.
All right, okay. Well, Joshua Jackson had the
Joshua Jackson was a contender, but Chris Klein apparently were one of the last. It was between him and Vanderbeek.
Right, okay.
And they asked Bron Lester, who played Billy Bob in the movie, who he preferred. And he said Vanderbeek because he just seems like a bigger guy, but apparently like the same height. I don't know if they meant height or he looked older or more believable. I don't know.
I mean, I like James Van Der Beek in this a lot. My problem with it, because I'd never seen the film before, I thought we were going to get more Paul Walker. I thought he was like the lead guy. I didn't really know anything about this film, but I always assumed Paul Walker was the lead guy.
Well, yeah, I always saw Paul Walker, Van Der Beek, and Scott Caan, and I thought, it could be a movie, them three palling about, like competing in sport sort of thing, like trying to see who's better, but I was quite surprised I'm quite surprised it wasn't more proving himself.
Yeah,
I think it's a good film, to be fair.
I particularly like the Moxon's younger brother, Kyle.
Oh,
because his dad kind of seems disappointed in him because he's more spiritual and clearly really sharp, but he's always trying out different religions and stuff, isn't he?
Yeah. You don't have a quote from this film there written down by any chance?
I just remember him telling Kyle that he shouldn't be doing that. He needs to start playing football soon or something like that.
I have a quote that then mum says to the younger brother, Kyle. I don't know how I wrote it down, but it's Kyle, did you start a cult? I'm proud of you.
I don't remember that at all.
Oh, man. Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, he didn't start a cult, though, did he?
No, he had his friends around. They're wearing cloaks, so I guess it was a bit questionable.
He was always trying out some new religion, wasn't he? He'd done Hindu and Buddhism and stuff.
Sounds like some out of a sitcom.
They tried to make a TV series out of this, but it didn't get any better than a pilot. I can't remember how late it was, but I wonder if it was to do with Friday Night Lights, because I believe that's a football drama series.
I thought it was going to be more of like a spin-off about it.
I honestly can't find... There's not much about it. There's no reason given of why it never happened.
It's not like they wrote it, but they didn't have anything else. I don't know. But the screenplay were apparently been kicked around for like 16 years before it actually got made.
What, for this film?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, that'd be 83. About 83. That'd be maybe a bit early.
It came out in 99, so it could be 82 if they want to say before filming, assuming it took a year to film and put out.
Yeah. The original director for this was apparently Daniel Stern, who most people probably know as Mark for Home Alone.
Really? He was going to direct this?
Yeah, it doesn't say why, but he was fired. So, don't know.
Odd.
Yeah. I do have one interesting bit of trivia.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was right about that when I mentioned it while watching the movie, and you said, I'm not sure, but it's an interesting little story for wrestling fans. John Moxley, who most people know as Dean Ambrose from WWE, he actually got the name Jonathan Moxley from this movie. He changed it, obviously, from Moxon, but apparently he was a fan of the film. Being like early wrestling shows when he got the name Moxley, he was wearing a football shirt.
Right.
They kept asking if he had a name, and he was just, I don't know what to call myself. And this sounds like a proper Spider-Man the movie style thing, because they just went like, he heard someone say, who's the guy who looks like he's from Varsity Blues?
All right.
And he heard him say that, and they asked him who he was, and he just went, "I'm John Moxley," and they announced him as John Moxley, and he walked out.
First wrestling thing at WWE was as John Moxley, though, and not Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, it could have been like the early name that he gave himself.
Yeah,
from this movie, which I thought was
pretty cool. I mean, we are a film podcast, not a wrestling podcast, so we should maybe move swiftly on. You want to move to Running Scared, or is there anything more you want to say about this?
There's not much I can say about it other than the fact that if you really enjoyed sporting dramas, it is definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, or even if you just like your teen dramas, you know.
Or a good film.
Yeah. Because I'll be honest, I didn't expect this film to be as serious as it was.
No?
No, I think just because of the year it came out, in 99, and it be like a teen sports thing, I maybe expected it to be funnier. I'm not saying that it's bad because it's not funny. I'm just saying I expected it to be a little funnier than it was and not as serious and profound, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean.
Because it's not exactly light-hearted, if you know what I mean. It's the drama. It's kind of like the moving force of the film more than the sport itself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, there are some light moments in it, but the drama does.
I mean, the introduction of Paul Walker's character alone in this is just, I mean, cinema at its greatest, right?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I do actually have him come out. It's big hero music just to establish him as the star player.
Yeah.
Really. I think saying he gets injured is hard bad because I think knowing he gets injured ruins that moment.
Yeah. Good point.
I feel like that is actually, you do normally expect to follow the star player, don't you? But that is like early on, but not really much of anything. Yeah, so so far Paul Walker gets taken out quite early in these movies.
We should probably honestly start to say that we do maybe spoil these movies earlier on in the episode. But it is
I don't think it really
film description, I think.
It don't really spoil the film, I think. It just depends how much you expect Paul Walker to be a major player in these films.
Yeah, I just assumed that he was a big player. Yeah.
One of these earlier films, isn't it?
I'd say he was a lead in Tammy and the T-Rex. No? I don't really think it counts.
I don't really think he had much to do. When I heard it actually have him glove up.
T-Rex. Shall we move to Running Scared then?
Yes, Running Scared.
I try to live an ordinary life, but I run with a very dangerous crew. And it's my job to clean up the messes they make, no questions asked. It was all working out for me. The way I figured it, what my family doesn't know won't hurt them. Until that night. Get down! Are you okay? The night someone took that gun.
Running Scared is a 2006 crime drama about a low-ranking thug who's entrusted by his boss to dispose of a gun that killed corrupt cops. But things get out of control when the gun ends up in the wrong hands. It's written and directed by Wayne Kramer.
Yeah.
It stars Paul Walker as our leading man, as Joey Gazelle.
Yeah.
Cameron Bright as Oleg Yugorski. Sorry if I'm butchering these names. Vera Farmiga as
Teresa Gazelle.
Yeah, Teresa.
Don't read your writing, could you?
What name is that?
I don't know.
Carol Roden? Oh, it is Carol Roden as Anzor Yugorski. Ivana Melasivek as Millie Yugorski. John Noble as Ivan Yugorski.
Yeah.
Chaz Palminteri as Detective Rydell.
Yeah.
Oh, the music's by Mark Isham.
Yes.
Which I'm saying now because I know you're a big fan of Mark Isham.
He did a fantastic job on this film.
Yeah, and we forgot to mention he's the music on
Varsity Blues.
Yeah. He's a composer that I feel so overlooked. He's very versatile. Like we've seen his music on a lot of films, and he always gets the tone right. And he's like I said, he's very, very versatile. Because this isn't a film you would think of putting with Varsity Blues, even though we have. But we're just doing Paul Walker movies. We didn't know they were both Mark Isham.
No,
and the tone and styles are very different.
Yeah,
Varsity Blues is very
drama.
Yeah. Expected, and it's got a brighter world feel to it. This film's really stylized in that
neo-noir
2000s way.
Yeah, this is neo-noir, horror, dark, gritty
action.
It's got a bit of everything.
Yeah. I know you've done the research on this, so I'll ask you to do it. But this film gets a lot of comparisons made to fairy tales.
Yeah, Grim Fable and all.
Do you want to explain that?
There's quite a lot in there. I don't think it's spoiling it. And if I run down a few characters, going to the director, character called Davina, she's a hooker.
Yeah.
Apparently she's seen as like Blue Fairy from Pinocchio. I'm not too familiar with Pinocchio, but
I'm not, and I don't think it's a fairy in the movie. Well, the Disney version, anyway.
Anyway, that character apparently helps like guide, and the young boy is all like played by Karen Bright, and she helps him out a bit. She plays that sort of similar role apparently.
Right.
And then the pimp is Pimp Lester.
I haven't made any notes about the pimp, and he had a great line at the end as well.
Yeah, he did. I don't think I have that line anywhere either. But he was based on the Mad Hatter.
Okay.
And then there's the characters, there's a needle who the young boy comes across as well. A lot of them seem to be from all the young boys' perspective because it's obviously as much as his story and Oleg's story in Joey's story, Joey Goodell.
Yeah.
But he runs across a couple.
Would this be the paedophiles?
Yes. Des and Adele, who were played by Bruce Altman and Elizabeth Mitchell, who were apparently told to play it like alien beings in human bodies. Anyway, they're like, they represent the witch from like Hansel and Gretel.
Right, okay. Because I know like Goldilocks and the Three Bears thing there.
Yeah, and Joey Goodell, a character, the director says he sees as like the big bad wolf.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say the huntsman.
No, he has a big bad wolf, but I think it is also the huntsman as well because he then describes him as more like a sheep in wolf's clothing.
Right, okay. So it's like a dual role in a way then.
Yeah, I thought them quite interesting to be fair.
Yeah. And there is a good thing with this film towards the end as well that is worth paying attention for, but I won't spoil that for this at all because it's not really important to any of the plot in the middle, if you know what I mean. But when you get to it at the end, it's like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, Cameron Bright played Oleg when the director had all these your kidnappers sort of thing, and apparently he said, I think they're a bit more than kidnappers. Apparently, kind of got quite an understanding of the darker elements.
Right, okay. I mean, he seems quite a worldly actor because I don't know what he's doing now, but I liked him in this when I first watched it years ago, and I liked him as Leech in X-Men 3.
Yeah,
and he was a pretty decent actor in. Is it Ultraviolet? Yeah.
Yeah, Ultraviolet.
They were all 2006 then films.
Yeah, he had a good time playing kid being captured or just in peril.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of the style of this film. I'm not saying I'm a style over substance person, but I think here the style really helps build the world in a way. There's some really good slow motion stuff and overcranked tracking shots, especially with where you're seeing where the bullet travelled.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of really weird, odd angles that you wouldn't even think of using that really keeps it off kilter, just so you know that there's something odd happening.
He did actually find influence in like comic books.
I mean, that's obvious when you look at it's the opening credits or closing credits, maybe both.
Yeah. Closing credits, it had like proper artwork of all the like fable sort of stories.
It's such a great looking film. I do feel it's maybe dated for modern audiences because it is very that like mid 2000s edginess to it. But I'm a big fan of that because that's around the time I started getting into films.
I think it has such a unique sort of style to it because it has these dark horror like.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Like there's certain parts. I just mean like
visual aspects. Yeah, huge shadows and things like that.
Well, that's part of that noir genre, isn't it? Really,
it adds. I'm not sure because for me, it has these really big like horror like shadows, like Nosferatu type things going on at times. Like,
yeah, true.
You get it from Oleg's perspective. It's kind of like a horror film from his point of view.
Yeah, that's where it's good, and that's what a lot of the artwork does. I think a lot of the older like adaptations of Brother Grimm, when you see it there in artwork adapted, is normally like a horror take because. Brothers Grimm work isn't how Disney have portrayed a lot of it either.
No.
I mean, that's just focused on Brothers Grimm, but a lot of fairy tales are a lot darker than what a lot of people now know them as.
I keep going back to Des and Adele, the captors. Like, we're going about this film being all dark, but their apartment is like the brightest thing.
Like what you would expect at a primary school.
Yeah, and it how bright and colourful. You can see everywhere. So, like, because they are captors, it helps you be able to know, like, it's so well done. It's one of my favourite movies for a reason.
Yeah, this is one of your all-time favourites, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, the camera work in it can be, like, fast-paced and frantic, and there's, like, bits at the beginning where it's, like, first person, you get it through Walker's eyes, and then the guy he's talking to, getting the gun from and everything. It puts you in the seat of... you even get the eyes blink and everything in that scene.
Yeah.
I think... which is really odd, and I really love it.
I can't say I've seen the blinking of eyes thing done through camera before.
Yeah.
Off the top, well, I probably will have, but not off the top of my head, I can't think of an example anyway.
Yeah, apparently Walker wasn't exactly the first choice. He didn't really have an actor in mind or anything, but only when he met Paul Walker, you're like, this guy's got it. He can do this. He's more than just like a stoic sort of guy. He can bring a lot more to the role. So when after meeting him, the director loved him, and we're like, he's the guy.
Yeah, after this film, Quentin Tarantino even got in touch with Paul Walker to tell him what a great performance he'd done.
Yeah, great performance, a really good film as well.
I guess it's got a Pulp Fiction element to it, with how it's kind of broken into different chapters through following different characters of different movies. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that's why Tarantino loved it, but you can see why Tarantino would love it with its style and the story he's telling, because it almost looks like a really not over stylized, but rich in style, and almost like a horror version as well of what Pulp Fiction could be, I guess. Because there's definitely some horror elements in this, and that made it.
When you get it from Oleg's point of view, like he sees, it's like a dark whisper from like one of the first people he meets, and he's just like in some like long jacket, and you can't really see the guy's face, and it's like some otherworldly creature that he's talking to. It's really great scene. This film's really stuck with me since I first watched it, and I think there's a lot of good stuff in it.
It's pretty meticulous in its detailing, really. That I think only the writer of it could have directed it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
This is what you get when the director is the writer, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Every shot is so purposely thought of, and
the actors themselves just elevate it, I think, as well. I think they all put in great performance.
It had been a while since I saw this, and Vera Farmiga as Teresa Gazelle was just like, I would not have remembered it being her at all.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's because she's bad in this, but I didn't really know who she was when I watched this.
Yeah.
And I've seen her do like more mature and like sophisticated people than this. So it's really weird seeing her play this, I don't know, like middle-class working mum figure.
Yeah.
And she's just incredible in it.
She's really great in it. She was apparently the director's first choice as well. But
I mean, there's a scene where she gets to save Oleg, and it's just phenomenal. Some people say it doesn't quite fit the film, but I disagree, because this film's almost like a tapestry of different characters going through the same story. So this is her time to fit in, I guess.
Yes.
Like, even though the events are linear, the story itself isn't, in how it breaks away.
Yeah.
But like you said, Oleg's kind of the main character of this, really, isn't he?
Yeah. That's why I can see it either way. Running scared is
I mean, that's what the title suggests.
Yeah. But you can also see it through Joey Gazelle's world.
Well, yeah, because she's the one that's lost the gun, isn't he? That's triggered the events.
Yeah.
So his name's kind of going through the ringer, isn't it? With the crimes and criminals and so on. It's pretty well established that Joey Gazelle, Paul Walker's character, is quite resourceful early on, though, isn't it? Because after that first shooting, the police are there and they can't find the bullet. So he chews some gum to pick up the bullet. After finding the wall, he gets into the floor, doesn't he, and uses some gum to pick it up with his shoe.
Yeah.
And walks away with it. And that is some real gumption.
I love that. The scene in this movie, Johnny Mesner, he plays Tommy, and he actually hits Paul Walker with the prop gun.
Right.
He apparently just kept hitting him with the prop gun and just got him proper riled up, and they left it like that because they just felt like it made the scene more believable.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that sort of stuff went on this film, but I think I don't think there's anything amiss in this film for me. I say it's one of my favourites. So.
Oh, I can see why. I really like this film, but I wouldn't say it's my top 10 or anything.
I don't want to say what the end scene is because I think it's a really
yeah.
Well, apparently he did want a really great looking set piece, something that would be memorable and stick with you after the film. I think he nailed that.
Definitely.
Like that, because that scene is memorable. Like, that is like your more memorable scene of the film.
Yeah.
Every time we discussed this at one point, you were just like, "That's the film with the," and it's like, yes.
I felt like it was more of the movie was that, but it's not.
No, the film are full of great visual throughout, and that's a big standout.
Yeah, it's very not like you can see that this was definitely around the time of Sin City.
Yeah, I suppose so.
It looks like in another universe, if this film had found its audience in its theatrical release, I could have seen there being more sort of really gritty, stylized noir films.
I can see why Wayne Kramer said he's most proud of this film out of all the ones he's made.
The Call is supposed to be really good from 2003, but I'll be honest, other than this and Mindhunters, I don't think I've seen many of his films, if any more.
Yeah, which is weird because I one of my favourites. I think I would watch.
Yeah, out of the three we've discussed in this episode, I would say this is the one definitely worth checking out.
Well, yeah, I would as well.
Tammy and the T-Rex, I would say watch it because I think you'll find some appreciation with it and be able to have a laugh. But if you want a good teen drama film or a sports drama, then definitely Varsity Blues would fill that void if you haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, we only did these Paul Walker films because we discussed his final one last week.
Yeah.
And I realised that Tammy and the T-Rex was his first ever film, and I've been itching to see that for quite a while now, so
why not be so reason?
Yeah. So
I'm running scared to one of my favourite movies.
Then next week, I believe you've found a link to next week's films.
Well, like I said, Chris Klein were originally going to be a contender for Varsity Blues. And again from Varsity Blues, Scott Caan, his father is James Caan.
Yeah.
And you gave me an odd one because you mentioned Terry Kaiser, who was Dr. Wackenstein in Tammy and the T-Rex, who were H.G. Wells in
Lois and Clark.
Lois and Clark,
the Dean Cain Superman series.
Cool. And I guess a link to each three films we'll be discussing next off.
Yeah, which will be revealed as we sign out. So, do you want to sign us out?
I'll sign us out. That's the end of the show. Thank you for joining us this week. And if you haven't, give us a like and a subscribe. A glowing review would also be appreciated. Links to our socials can be found in our description. And remember to join us next week as we unearth more gems from cinema's depths as we discuss films and the future of sports, Rollerball and Rollerball, the remake, I guess, and the aptly titled Future Sport. Thank you.
Goodbye.